even back in the day when we didn't know what we were doing, like we were not ready to deal with that amount of people. And like when we moved from Aurich, the first Winterclash city, to the second one, Mühlhausen in the middle, you've both been to Mühlhausen,
Yeah.
I believe,
Yeah.
That like the crowd was doubling every year in size. Like from 300 we went to 600, then to 1,200, and I think the last year in Mühlhausen was much more even, like 1.5 or something. But we had no idea about regulations, how to work with all that stuff. We didn't even know how many people were allowed in that building back in the day. And we were far from being ready to deal with that shit. Like we had, things were totally out of control, and we were super lucky that nothing bad happened because we had too many people in the building. And from there we tried to professionalize everything. And the first year where we really wanted to take it to the next level was 2009, when we picked up a new place. We didn't get the permission from the city of Mühlhausen to go there again, because people were destroying hotel rooms. They were burning cars on the street.
Burning cars in the
city
street.
itself.
The city itself decided. Like it started with all the hotels talking to each other, and then telling the city that they would not accommodate people from other countries during that weekend.
Oh shit! Damn.
And then the city started to talk to us and to the park, and it's like, okay, you won't get the permission.
Damn.
Like that's it.
Damn, that's crazy.
For good reason. Like I mean, the city was too small for that people, and every single hotel room and every even like we had a radio show where we got interviewed, and then the host on the radio, he asked the people of Mühlhausen to call if they had a couch or a bed to share and stuff like that. So the whole city was ours more or less, and then of course young people, testosterone, shit went crazy, and people burned cars, destroyed the hotel rooms, threw their TVs out of the window, all that shit. Like a lot of people slept outside, like even during the winter time. Like it went totally out of control. And then when we had to leave, we went to Belgium, St. Nicholas, and that was the first time when we were like, okay, now we're gonna do it proper. With everything you have to do. But that went totally wrong, because the 40
skating fashion, it went totally wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like rollerblading. Like 48 hours, or not even 48 hours, 24 hours, something like that, before the event was supposed to happen. After 2 hours of preparations, like we went there and it was almost an empty building. Like there was some ramps in between, but then we just changed the whole course together with the guy running the park, like cutting. Like it was really DIY fashion, but like, okay, we want to build something special, like cutting a half pipe in half, like in the flat, just cut it, and then you come with a forklift and you push the two pieces of the vert ramp that are now two pieces. You push them around for 2 quarter pipes and build a channel on top of it.
Oh, okay.
Like truly going nuts with the skate
park. Like a lot
park.
of work.
Yeah, a lot of work, but also so much fun. Like we built grandstands. Is that the English word? Like where people sit down? Yeah. Built grandstands out of wood, so everything was ready, and then the whole thing burnt down. No one knows why.
Oh really? So like no one knew why it burnt down?
The police investigation says that someone did it on purpose, but no one knows who it was in a way. Like it's not official.
Possibly a hate crime from another action sport.
There's a lot of rumors going around. I don't know. But yeah, the whole place burned down, and then we ended up here because the week before the one in Belgium, during the preparation week, we came here for a pre-session. There was a pre-session organized by Grindhouse, and we came here. And on my way out, I was joking with the guy who was managing the park back then, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, good luck with Winterclash next year. You're coming here, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure. Gonna call you." Just joking around, and then a week later, I called him like, "Hey, how about tomorrow?" And he was like, "Yeah, let me call you back." And like 10 minutes later or 15 minutes later, he was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Sick.
And then when we got here, they already built a couple of new ramps, and there was already people here, because it all happened while we were on the highway to that park in St. Nicholas from our apartment. Then we got a call like, "Hey, the place burned down." And before we even were there, I took the call to Area 51. Can we change it? And once we got here, the word has been spread, and all the media, back then we had more media, everyone wrote about it, so people were already here, a lot of them. Because it's not that far, like Belgium and Netherlands are really close to each other.
Yeah.
So it worked out in the end, and we lost a lot of material, and some of it has been refunded by the insurance, but not too much. For example, Sven Burkhost lost a whole ramp. Like he has this ramp set up for shows, and it got burned in the fire. He just gave it to us for free, and then it was done. But I think insurance took care of it. But it was terrible. But like just for me personally, the year after was much more terrible, because then we wanted to really show that rollerblading is alive. Like
What did you do for that then?
We decided to go to Berlin, and not in a not in a normal skate park, but in an event arena. Like if Metallica is playing in Berlin, not Metallica's maybe too big, but if like a
Like
10,000 people capacity venue, but concert venue, like
That's
event
huge,
venue.
though.
Yeah. So and we went there and there was no infrastructure at all, and we decided we're gonna build a skate park here. We're gonna go big time. And the motto back then was this time big time. We did posters all over the city, like in the metro, on TV, 4 different radio stations having trailers, 1 week long, every half an hour, like did proper promotion. And we were like, okay, let's show everyone that rollerblading is still alive.
Yeah.
And if people will only know and see it, they will like it, of course.
Yeah.
And in the end, all this 1,500 bladers that every year are there, they came, but no one else. Like 2 families from Berlin.
Wow.
And once that happened,
Do you know why? Do you have any like
it's
speculation why
just
that happened?
everything about it was wrong. The idea to make rollerblading famous that way again is not working. Not once, like with one event.
Right.
And also Berlin, people are so spoiled. Like there's concerts, there's events, everything is going on every day. Everything you want is kind of like New York. Like whatever you want, it will be there, available every time.
So people are always busy. It's not
Yeah,
like
busy, spoiled, and who wants to see rollerblading? You know,
Yeah.
like that's the thing. Like we weren't able to communicate it in a way that people got hyped about it.
Yeah.
We
Wow,
saw
that's
it.
crazy. You did all that work and then nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, we went super big time. Like in the week before, it was the first time that we hired people, had an office, had to hire a technical director, like all the stuff that you need for the regulations. Like it's proper
Really went in.
crazy because
Yeah.
if you do an event in that building, there's so many regulations. It's not like in a skate park. You have to do everything proper and by law. And
Was that a Winterclash you tried doing, or this is a completely different event?
that's Winterclash. Winterclash
Winterclash,
2010. Yeah, in 2010. And spent so much money. What did I want to say? Yeah, hired a PR person, hired a technical director, all that stuff. And in the end, it failed. And I lost more than 100,000 euros.
What?
Not lost them because I didn't have them. It was it was bills that I couldn't pay. Like more like
okay. So you were kind of like in debt.
Yeah.
Kinda.
So I was 25. I didn't have a company, so it was all in my name. So I'm 100% reliable myself. So I was owning this money to these companies. And I was 25, so I wasn't able to deal with it. Like I didn't know what to do. Like, you know, you're owning this much money to so many people.
And you were just a kid, 25.
25, no clue. And I didn't open the letters I got, and I didn't react. And kind of, what's the word? Ghosted. And that made everything much worse because, of course, then there's like there's going to be interest, lawsuit, all that stuff.
Yeah,
and
collections comes to you.
yeah, at some point I
Knock on
wasn't.
your door, I don't know how they do in
all
Berlin,
that stuff,
but
all that stuff. Yeah. And at some point I wasn't even allowed to leave the country. All that shit. Like, and then after a while I got there, like I should have asked for help right away, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And then after a while I got back on track, and we did Winterclash again in the year after right away, but in Area 51 again. I think the motto was back to basics then.
Yeah, totally.
That makes sense.
And
Played it safe since then. Now it's been Area 51.
playing
since then,
safe, and then step by
relationship
step.
with the park.
Yeah, good relationship with the park. Doesn't matter what management is here. It always worked, and they're really treating us nice. Especially now, like they're super supportive, and they have this organization called eMoves in the Netherlands that pushes extreme sports and action sports, and they're supporting us big time money-wise as well. So really working out great for us. And that was a nice moment, realizing, okay, I will be able to pay back the debts with the same event that caused it.
Yeah.
But it took a couple of years to,
get everything together.
It definitely takes a while.
Yeah, and it's still fucked. Like 2 weeks ago, I don't know that. The problem is for the first 2 years, it probably gets too boring now. But the first 2 years, 4 years after it happened, I didn't do taxes anymore because I was so, in my mind, I was like, okay. No, I had to deal with the debts, and that was the only thing I could deal with. Like it was so much because it's like per company that you owe money to. There's like the company itself, then there's a lawyer, then there's the interest company, whatever. There's like 4 different parties involved per company. So you're talking to 25 plus people that you owe money to, and I was 25. So I didn't do the taxes, all that stuff. So after 5 years, all the debt stuff was in order, and I had made up agreements of monthly payments, all that stuff. And then the tax stuff hit pretty hard. That's when I did crowdfunding. It was like 4 years ago or something like that. just saying I did a GoFundMe or something like that, because then the tech stuff hit me like, okay, we want 20,000 euros now, and they just took it from my account, and it was all the money for Winterclash 2000, I don't know, 16 or 15 or something like that.
So that Winterclash that year was completely crowdfunded?
Yeah, more or less, because the tax office took all the taxes from my account. They just blocked my account, took all the money that was already on it from the ticket sales, from the sponsoring, and then I had to do the crowdfunding. And but back then it was already the case that people were writing comments on the socials like, oh yeah, Jojo Jacobi is rich as fuck, he's making so much money with Winterclash, all that stuff, like, because of course if you look at it, like there's 1,000+ people in the skate park, the price is this, like simple math. You
It
think
doesn't work that way.
yeah, of course it doesn't, but people think, and I was sitting at home and I was like, okay, shit, like I'm really fucked again. So at least I want to tell that story. I want to tell people I'm not rich, I'm still fucked.
Yeah.
And I did that and I wrote this like heartbreaking long letter, and I was like just going to release it, and I was like, okay, maybe I connect it to a crowdfunding. So in the best case, I get 2,000 euros and can pay my rent next week or something. And then in 4 days or something, we reached above 20,000.
Wow.
And it was crazy. Like that was the first time that I really realized how much of a community we created around this event and how much it means to people. And that was pretty intense.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and ever since it happened again, like last week, I got another letter from the tax office, and because I didn't do the taxes for 5 years between 2010 and 2015, I'm now having to do 2 years per year. Like I'm having to do, how to explain
Makes
it?
sense. No, like you got to do the year of,
Yeah,
and then
the year from the
you
back
do
and the one now, and
until
so I'm
season.
still paying like double every year and having to put in double the work every year. So that's why it's still
affecting
really
you now.
Absolutely, I'm still in debt as well. Like there's taxes I'm still behind with the taxes. This year I will close that circle finally. Like I just paid for the last remaining year, and now I'm like a normal person paying my debts, paying my taxes every year.
Normally?
Yeah.
Nice.
That just happened now with this Winterclash, but the debts are still there. Like there's still 20,000 euros left, a little less than 20,000 euros.
Wow.
But I'm almost. I mean, it came down from 100,000, so. Yeah. So there's
That's
still
good that you're
a
still
lot of
doing this though. Like you would think most people after taking a hit like that, they're like, I'm out. That's it. No
The
more.
thing is, like, I could probably not pay it back ever without an event like Winterclash. With a normal job, I wouldn't be able to pay it back. Like that's the thing, because I'm doing stuff. I'm working on the side on other stuff, and that's how I'm partly paying my rent. But I'm also partly paying my rent by Winterclash. At the same time, I can pay back the debts. So that's worth a lot. Like with a normal job, it wouldn't be possible, because a normal job you do to make a living, and there wouldn't be anything left to pay the debts. So kind of Winterclash is needed as well to get out of the.
Totally.
Are you getting any corporate sponsorship now at all for Winterclash? Or are
We
you
tried.
just
We
completely
tried
over it?
15, 16 years. We tried everything
Every year
we
you
could.
try.
Seriously, we tried everything. Like
What?
from.
I'm surprised no one wants to sponsor an event like this.
They don't
What are
care.
the numbers like now? Like how many
number
people?
1,500 people
Every year it's
from
been
60
consistently around
different
1,500.
countries.
Okay.
Yeah, and the years before it has 1,000, a little bit more than 1,000, and now we had 1.5.
Okay.
And the problem is that there's several problems, and we tried really from the very first year we tried, and now that I'm working in the music festival business, I know how sponsoring works, and I know it's not that I'm this kid asking big companies for money. It's like I know exactly how it works. I know how a presentation or a pitch deck has to look like and everything. So it's not that we are doing that part wrong, but it's just not interesting for them. First, it's rollerblading, and a lot of people told us that. Like Red Bull, every year, like the first 5 years we tried Red Bull, like we tried hard. And every year they send me like this grade of Red Bulls, like with 24 Red Bulls, and the letter like, here's a little bit of energy for you to keep on trying.
What?
Like this, like really. A couple of years later, they offered me a job, which I refused then.
What? Well, why did they say keep on trying? Like, did they give you a
No, they were
reason
like, yeah,
why?
sorry, we cannot sponsor it.
Because it's rollerblading?
Rollerblading's not in the budget, but good luck. Keep on
It's
doing
not
your
in the
thing.
budget.
Yeah, but then there's so many examples. Like this.
It's like the 24 pack is almost like an insult.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's what it is.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's an insult
Yeah,
in a
it's
way.
complete
Like it's
insult.
probably the
Yeah.
snowboard dude running their marketing
Yeah,
department
totally.
making jokes of it or something.
course, yeah.
But there's been like, do you know Aspirin? There's like this is for headaches.
Aspirin, yeah.
Aspirin,
Aspirin,
yeah.
yeah.
We were in touch with Aspirin, and we got pretty close of having them as our main sponsor in 2007 or 8, and then they already confirmed, but we didn't sign a contract yet. And then a couple of weeks before the event, or 2 months before the event, they sent us, sorry, we just redid our budget for next year and not going to do any sports marketing at all, sorry. I was like, okay, bummer.
Damn.
And then 2 weeks after Winterclash, I saw a video of the sandboarding World Championships, and Aspirin was their main sponsor.
No.
So they thought it's cooler that people going down a sand hill, a sand dune on a snowboard is cooler than rollerblading. So that kind of puts things in perspective.
Perspective,
Yeah.
wow.